Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Chatterbox and a live preview for Manchester United against Chelsea. Chelsea against Manchester United. How you all doing? I hope you're all doing well. It is obviously Chelsea tomorrow night, and it is a game that some of us have we've thrown it away. We've forgotten about it. We don't really care. We want to skip this game and go to the Europa League final. That's where we want to go. But obviously, it's Chelsea, guys. So we have to take it seriously. We don't want to go tomorrow and embarrass ourselves. So, it is important that we can get something out of Chelsea. It is important that we go there and give a good account of ourselves. That's how it should be. Professionalism at all time, we need, Chelsea and Manchester United have a rich history. We have a history of games that, especially during this century, when the turn of this century, when Jose Mourinho took charge of Chelsea, the battles we had in the league title race, and when we played Chelsea in the European Cup final, in the Champions League final, of course, and won on penalties. We beat Chelsea in the Champions League. I think it was the quarterfinals, didn't we? We played Chelsea. Chelsea have been a very important team for Manchester United over the years. I honestly feel that Man United against Chelsea, we've actually raised our standards because of Chelsea in the past. Chelsea with Jose Mourinho, then obviously we played them with Avram Grant. When they had Avram Grant, they went on this little run. But we also go way back to 1994, and it's literally 31 years since Manchester United defeated Chelsea 4-0 in the FA Cup final. We all remember that, don't we? Very long time ago, before the time of the Glazers, before the time of all that nonsense, and we just stuck to football back then, didn't we? It was just all about the footy. That was all it's all about. But you know what? Tomorrow's game will be a little bit different. There's no edge for Man United. There certainly is for Chelsea. Chelsea need to get in the Champions League. By doing that, they have to win against us and win against Nottingham Forest to ensure their place in the Champions League. So we really can't just let them off. We really can't let Chelsea off. We really can't just fold. We have to give a good account of ourselves. This is an audition, so to speak, for a lot of those players. These players have got a lot to live up to. Do you know what I mean? And especially with the performance at the weekend. I honestly think that, when Man United are expected to lose, I don't know why, but Man United seem to come out trumps. I don't know why. It's just the way it is. The games that we play against the lower half teams, we seem to win. Now, you know what? Chelsea, look, would love to get one over us tomorrow. They would love to win the game against Man United tomorrow. Of course they would. But, we got to make sure that we're solid tomorrow. There will be changes, of course. I'm going to give you my lineup prediction. I think there has to be changes. I don't think that we can risk any more injuries. For example, if we get another injury in the defense, we're absolutely screwed. It would be an absolute nightmare if we get another injury in defense. We're looking at Tottenham. Tottenham have got more injuries in their attack. We got injuries in their defense, of course. Big up Chibalem. Hope you're doing well. Afternoon. Hope you're doing good, my friend. Hope you're good. Good to see you. So look, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I want us, obviously, as every single game, I want us to win. I want us to play well. But if we lose, for me, it's not going to be the end of the world. I do know that the trolls are going to come out. The anti-Amaram brigade are going to come out if we lose tomorrow again. They're predictable. They're so predictable. It's just, it's ridiculous how you can read them, because as soon as if Man United lose this game, as soon as that happens, you know as well as I do that they're all going to come out in their droves. It's like, it doesn't matter if we win the Europa League. That's what it's going to be, And listen, this game ultimately means nothing if Man United win the Europa League. If Man United win the Europa League, this game, whether we win or lose, people won't remember it, honestly. And in regards to this season, yes, it's been bad. It would go down in the history records, but we can sweep this season under the carpet. And we can prepare for next season with Champions League football, of course. That was what it'd be. Big up, Kenny. How you doing, my friend? Sal, almost 9 p.m. at my end. Bloody hell, it's getting late. You're at 9 p.m. where you are, mate. Good afternoon, Sal. I'm excited for the final. Me too, mate. Me too. Amram Outers have been outside the canvas from time. And this is the problem, isn't it? Because a lot of those Amram Outers have been exposed themselves too soon. They've gone head first into it, and none of them are going to come back in regards to that. And that is just unintelligent people that, they sacrificed themselves a long time, you know what I mean? And they're sticking by their guns. Fair play to them. Let them stick by their guns. And I hope that Ruben Amram in time will show these guys what about the birds and the bees. And what I would also say is that I would like some of those guys to come back and start apologizing to us if it does happen, if it does go well for Ruben Amorim, if he does turn it around. Because at the end of the day, I'm still waiting for them from the Erik ten Hag era to come back and apologize to me, for goodness sake, when I told them there's not going to be any changes. There's a cultural problem at this football club. There's a player problem at this football club. It's a nightmare at the end of the day. And we've also got, obviously, the ex-pros, the class of 92, moan, negative. Only Bruno will get in the Tottenham team, blah, blah, blah. All that rubbish, guys. All that rubbish. Do you know what I mean? And, I'm just oblivious to it right now. My focus is completely the Europa League final. All roads lead to Bilbao, and that is where I am with it. All roads lead to Bilbao, and nothing else. Even if we lose tomorrow, I'm not going to cry my eyes out. I'm not going to go to bed crying. I'm going to say, well, you know what I mean? The season's almost over, thank God. I'm not going to do that at the end of the day. I hope the game is postponed. I hope, you know what I mean, there's a lot of floodlight failure or something along those lines. That'd be good for me. I would really like that. Definitely. Absolutely. Absolutely. Big up. You've been right the whole time. Big up, Kenny. You know what? For me, you know, what I would say is that what's the most important thing for me is Man United being successful. All I care about is Man United and success. And that's all I care about. You know, I've been slated. People tried to pull me down on YouTube. People tried to do things, and you know what I mean, and writing letters to Ten Hag and all that rubbish and everything like that. There's loads of things, but none of them will come out and say, "Oh, we were wrong about Erik ten Hag. We were wrong about you, Sal, because you were right about that." You know, and I appreciate everyone who says that, but what I would say is that they're going to bring in the excuse, but it's Erik ten Hag signings. It's Erik ten. It doesn't matter who we sign. We can sign Lamine Yamal. It doesn't matter. The culture at the football club is a problem. And this is something that they can't quite grasp. You know, they can't quite grasp it. A bit like David James in goal. You know, they can't quite grasp it. And I'll be honest with you guys. You know what? I just hope and pray that Ruben Amorim manages to retrieve some kind of respectability at this football club. And we go from strength to strength in the end. Absolutely. They think changing manager will change it. It won't change anything, Ephraim. We can have a Luis Enrique, we can have Nagelsmann, we can have Hansi Flick. As I've always said, it's not going to change anything. So it defeats the point, doesn't it? All it does is cost money. And these people don't understand that. We have a very good manager, an incredibly good manager, a skillful manager, a talented manager, the best young manager in Europe, you know, and people just want to downplay this guy. You know, I'm watching the overlap and people are trying to downplay him and stuff like that, trying to slyly dig at Ruben Amorim, and I'm not having it, to be honest with you. And I'm tired of this rubbish. What do we know? Some of Amorim outers are saying Erik ten Hag 2.0 now, and that is a gamble to Ruben Amorim even to win the Pearl. You know what I mean? Why don't they look at the history for the last 13 years? What's going on? Has sacking managers been the issue? Has sacking managers helped Manchester United short term? Long term, no. You know, and this is the biggest problem. When we sack Ruben Amorim, we're going back further. Trust me. Who are we going to get next? You know what I mean? There's no good managers out there. Who are we going to get next? We might as well get Gareth Southgate, isn't it? Because at the end of the day, this is what they're asking for, isn't it? Maybe they love Gareth Southgate. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe they love Gareth Southgate. I don't know. But you know what? I'm backing this manager to the end. I'm backing this manager, and you know, until I feel like he's had a fair crack at the whip. Because at the moment, people can talk all the nonsense that they want, but the fact of the matter is, has he had a fair crack at the whip? Has he even had a transfer window? He hasn't. I've not watched the overlap for ages, but I would assume the pundits, rival fans would spew nonsense. There was what's his name, the ex-Burnley manager on there, Sean Dyche, and basically Sean Dyche said he would give Ruben Amorim until December until he makes a more accurate analogy. So basically what it was is that's fair enough, because if Ruben Amorim is backed in the summer, if we cannot see improvements, then you can say, well, you know what? He's not really improving the team. What's going on here? We're 13th in the league again and blah, blah, blah. Then you can say, yeah. But if he's not, obviously it's about context. If he's not backed, then we can't really jump on him, can we? We can't really start talking about him again, because then he's got the same bunch of players. You know what I mean? But Sean Dyche did say give him to December, January. He said he'd give him to the summer transfer window and he'd give him the January transfer window, which I thought was fair enough. But the thing with Roy Keane and Gary Neville, they were digging. They wanted him to say, "Oh, he's not good enough," and da. You can tell that they wanted to say that. You can tell that they were itching to say something like that. And gladly he didn't. He was very smart with his answer, and I agree with him. Amram is the guy. Absolutely, brother. Absolutely. Big up. Big up, everyone. Big up, Randy. How you doing, my friend? I hope you're doing well. And you know what? As we said in before Erik ten Hag was sacked, there is a fundamental problem at this football club that goes deeper than the manager. It goes from the top all the way to the bottom. There's a cultural problem where you can just give up and throw in the keys when the going gets tough. That is the issue, right? And this is not always a managerial issue. Every single one of those managers would do well. If Ruben Amorim right now was at Real Madrid, right? He's a better manager than Company. If he was at Bayern Munich, if he was at, any one of these big clubs, PSG, he'd be doing the same thing. You know what I mean? He'd be doing the same thing. People are ranting and raving about Ruben Amorim when they smashed up Man City 4-1, wasn't it? You know what I mean? And now look, and this just proves that Man United has an environmental problem, a cultural problem at their football club, and it's not going to be fixed until we find an element of patience and an element of positivity that we can throw at the manager and make it without doubt that we're backing you, Ruben Amorim, until the end. And what I don't get is this week, 6 days, right, until the Europa League final, and the negativity that we're seeing. It's almost like they want Manchester United to lose. It really is. It does feel that way, that they just want Man United to lose because I know that Paul Scholes and Gary Neville, I'm not sure whether they're Man United. I know that Paul Scholes, I think he's an old and athletic fan, and and this and that. Or they might like the club, they might love the club, but they just don't want their legacy to be tarnished. They want Man United to continue to struggle, because if they continue to struggle, treble winners, Scholes and Gary Neville and Keane, right, who I love very much because I witnessed the treble, right, but I don't love their punditry. They're going to be sitting there self-righteous, well, I did it, sort of thing. I did it. I done the treble. This is how you should do things, not that. So go into manager and do it. You fouled Roy Keane at management. Gary Neville fouled at management. Do you know what I mean? At the end of the day, Salford ain't doing too well, Paul Scholesy. You know what I mean? At the end of the day. And I would say that, there's a lot of things that, irritate me about the situation. And because we have a massive game coming up, you can tell that Ruben Amorim really cares about what's going on. You can tell, that, he's embarrassed by what's going on. He's confused about what's going on, and I really do feel for Ruben Amorim. I feel for him because at the end of the day, we've seen this story before. We've been through this before. This is a Netflix series that we've seen over and over again. It's Breaking Bad in this mother. You know what I mean? And we've been watching this over and over again. This same scenario. Oh, you know what? Bad results, this and that. As I said, 5 months in the job. You can't even build a Tesco Metro in 5 months, for goodness sake. Do you know what I'm saying? Let's look at some of your comments. Kenny. Yeah, I read that one. Amram in, big up. Ephraim. I'm tired of hearing big clubs can sack who finish 16th. If we are a big club, we cannot sign unexperienced players. Yeah, I mean, I'd give Amorim a 4 seasons, but sacking managers in mid-season going to cause a lot of chaos. I would give him 2 seasons, mate, 2 full seasons, like how we appointed Ragnick in the season. It's not going to work. It's insanity. We've done it before. Sacking managers mid-season, sacking managers over and over again. It's just not going to work. What I do want to see, I want to see an improvement next season. I'm not asking for much, but that improvement comes with context. That improvement comes with Ineos backing Ruben Amorim. If they back Ruben Amorim and we're sat here this time next year in mid-table, we're going to be like, it's just not working, man. We're going to be like that, isn't it? You know what I mean? I'm not going to turn against a manager. I'm never going to turn against a manager until those Glazers go. Because I believe that they're a virus. I believe that they're a curse. I believe they've cursed the whole football club. I think they're absolute evil. And until they leave the football club, along with Ineos, I won't be saying Amorim, get the Portuguese fraud out, just like Bald Fraud and just like Peanut Head, all those days. You know what I mean? We've been through there, and it annoys me because it seems like yesterday we were talking about Eric Ten Hag and Peanut Head and Bald Fraud and he should stay at the football club, he should be sacked and blah, blah, blah. It just seems like yesterday, you know what I mean? It's just crazy the way people are going on. You would have thought they would have learned their lesson, but obviously not. Randy, we must support where we're at. We're going to get Southgate, and that is really, really scary. What Southgate would do, Randy, and I'll tell you what, and I can read it like a book. He would stabilize Manchester United. Well, that word there, stabilize Manchester United. But you know what? The same argument. This is one argument that keeps propping up, guys. And I want you to listen. This is one argument, and they said it on the overlap, and they will say it again. If Gareth Southgate was 16th in the league, people will be saying, sack Gareth Southgate. Calm down. Calm down. Now, let me explain this for the people at the back, right? Ruben Amorim is different. Whether we're 16th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, it doesn't really matter. What I'm talking about is Ruben Amorim is trying to change a culture at the football club so in a year and maybe 2 years, we can challenge. To do that, you have to suffer. To do that, when you're building any business, you're going to have to feel the pain. That is business at the end of the day. When you're managing Manchester United, if you want to change a broken football club, the biggest in the world, that has been broken for 13 years, you're going to have to make extreme changes. This doesn't happen overnight. Okay, now with Southgate has proven that he cannot take a bunch of superstars in a home tournament against an aging Italy and win the game. He goes defensive. He goes predictable. He's done it twice. He's done it against Italy. He's done it against Spain. Lost against France. He's played big games. He's lost big games. That is Southgate. There is no evidence to suggest that Southgate is going to change Manchester United. There's no trophies there. There's no trophies. It's gone. It's all gone. It's all gone. Southgate got relegated with Middlesbrough. You know, and we know that Southgate isn't going to go to Man United and have a plan to make Man United the biggest club in the world. Southgate will go to Man United and have a plan to stabilize. And that is what it is. There's a difference. Ruben Amorim is at Man United right now to try and win, to try and eventually make Man United title challenges again. This is what Ruben Amorim is trying to do. Gareth Southgate will come into Man United and think, maybe if I come 10th, 9th, 8th, I will be all right. And people will say it's an improvement. But added to the fact he won't win no trophies. Because Gareth Southgate, apart from the 1994 League Cup final, has never won anything in his bloody career, has he? Well, he won something with Middlesbrough. Was it the League Cup again? Oh, well done, Gareth. Amorim wants to see that Man United. I think so. I actually do think so. I'm being honest. Is it true Lenny Yoro or De Ligt will come back for the final? There is, Ephraim, there's a chance that Lenny Yoro will play in the final because Lenny Yoro has played football over this last week, 2 weeks. He's been playing football. So there is a small chance that Lenny Yoro could be fit. In regards to De Ligt, there's no chance he's going to play in the final unless he comes on off the bench. Because he hasn't played any football. He's not match fit. And when you're playing games in the Europa League final, you know, against Tottenham, you're going to have to make sure that all your players are near the top of their level and match fit, because it just takes a small percentage to completely ruin the team, of course, guys. That's what I would say about that. But I hope that Euro is fit, definitely. Arsenal, I like Netflix, wait until next season, or 21 seasons so far. Full sale only guitar in. I wish they come back. It's not over yet, by the way, guys. It is not over. I think we have to change the defense for this game. It depends who's fit, Ephraim. It depends who's fit. If Euro is fit, then we're okay. We can play Maguire, Euro, and Mazraoui. If Euro's not fit, it's gonna be Lindelof, isn't it? Unless we change it up a little bit with Maguire, Mazraoui, and Luke Shaw in the defense. Maybe we can do that as Luke Shaw as a left-sided centre back. Then maybe that can work. I don't know. But one thing's for certain, I don't think Luke Shaw's ready. I think Luke Shaw's looking very chubby, out of shape. So I wouldn't risk it with Luke Shaw, really. I'm not too worried in regards to Maguire. I think Maguire's handled himself pretty well over the last few months. What I am worried about Luke Shaw. I am worried about Lindelof. You know, I'm worried about those two players there. It only takes one player to ruin the whole shape of the team, doesn't it? I really do hope that Lenny Yoro is fit. I really do, in my opinion. It's very important. Now these days, I felt like YouTube space is like a cesspit of especially Man United fan channels. There's a cesspit of Man United fan channels, and how many of them are real Man United fans? This is the question. This is the ultimate thing. We got lots of fan channels. So I've even been on a couple of them, and I don't think they're Man United fans. And I know that for literally a fact. You know what I mean? There's fan channels out there with bot followers and stuff like that. And they act like Man United fans to get interaction. None of them can prove they're Man United fans. None of them. And this is why I always bring this up. I can prove that I've been a Man United fan for 40 years. But you know what I mean? At the end of the day, there's a number of people out there. I started doing YouTube before it became popular. I started doing YouTube when I was doing music. I was doing YouTube 2020. Now, you're looking at 20 years ago, in 2005. I started doing YouTube. I started making music videos and stuff like that. I was doing it. You know what I mean? Back then, I was getting thousands and thousands of views. Back then, I was getting, I got an account on a music account, which, was got over 1 million subscribers. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, from back in the day. And at the end of the day, what I would say is this, right? Is that a lot of people have jumped on this thing where they pretend to be Man United fans. You know what I mean? It gets them clout. It gets them, numbers, and it gets them. Some people gets them money. You know what? I'm not going to knock the hustle. That's life at the end of the day. But what I would say is that there's a lot of fakes that then you have to be very, very careful in regards to the fakes, right? Now, this is why my advice will always be to someone starting up YouTube. Someone starting up YouTube, let me tell you like this, right? If you're going to start up a YouTube channel, especially if you're going to do a football YouTube channel about Manchester United, make sure you're dedicated to it. You love it. You do it every day. You have consistency and you work it. Don't make the whole industry saturated, because a lot of people are making the industry saturated and they're not really in it for like the love. They're in it for the numbers and the likes and the clicks, and that's not me at the end of the day. Yeah. We should keep Eric Ten Hag till the end of the season, Randy. Well, you know what I mean? Sal, if we cancel games, can it work to get the Glazers out? The only way Man United can really get at the Glazers, let me tell you this, right, is if Man United attack the sponsors. If Man United go after the sponsors of Manchester United, the Glazers, sponsorship deals, there will be issues. As we know, Man United went after Vodafone before. Man United can go after sponsors, and that will hurt Ineos because the sponsors won't want any of that. That is one thing Man United can do. The biggest issue is emptying the ground, emptying the stadium. I've tried it. I've done the 58th minute walkout. It is very, very difficult to do it, and I'll tell you why. People are traveling from the likes of Australia, from America to come and see Man United. They spend a lot of money to come and see Man United. Now, imagine that the game is cancelled. This is the problem that we're going to have. But maybe it's a sacrifice. Maybe it's something we have to do. Maybe this is the direction that we have to go in. Maybe. You know what I mean? But it's not easy. The board shouldn't have appointed Dan Ashwood. Should have forgotten Phil Mitchell. Paul Mitchell, I think. What I would say about that, Kenny, is that Dan Ashwood wanted Gareth Southgate in charge. Dan Ashwood wanted Potter in charge. We all knew before Dan Ashwood came into Manchester United what Dan Ashwood was all about. We knew he was Brexit FC. Some of us were saying Brexit FC Ashwood, and I'm surprised that the Ineos did not clock onto that. They did not know about his mentality. He wanted Gareth Southgate. You know what I mean? At the end of the day. Look, the only thing I agree with Ineos, and the only thing that there's a couple of things that I think, okay, they've done okay. They brought Ruben Amorim in the end of the day. Getting Ruben Amorim the timing of getting Ruben Amorim was the thing that they did wrong. They should have got Ruben Amorim when he wanted to come in, which was the summer. Of course, that would have been a little bit difficult given Eric Ten Hag was still at the football club. And if he knows that he's going to leave at the football club at the end of the season, it would have made it a bit more toxic as well. So, it's a tough one. But Ineos have done this very badly. They've made a mess of things, in my opinion. Everything they've done so far has been an absolute disaster. Since the summer, it's been a disaster. Let's be real, guys. They've wasted money. They've sacked people. They've got rid of members of staff. There's nothing positive coming out of Manchester United. And when I saw, again, I'll bring in the overlap because I do look at them, and you know what, I leave my YouTube channel on sometimes, and I watch loads of content. And I saw them talking about the stadium. So basically what Gary Neville was trying to do is force the stadium, that the stadium is important. The stadium is important. The only thing, you know what, Gary Neville, it's nice to have a new stadium. Don't get me wrong. But when you're good on the pitch, then build a stadium organically, right? But what Gary Neville's got a conflict of interest here, because all Gary Neville cares about is, you know, getting his hotel football or whatever, you know what, in that new regeneration project. Now, I would love it if the Manchester Council blocked the regeneration project. And I'll tell you why. Because then that would make Jim Ratcliffe show his true colours. That will make Jim Ratcliffe say, oh no, how am I going to make money now? Oh, you know what I mean? Because that is his big hope. State loans and changing the culture are two different things. Exactly. And I have to applaud that. I have to applaud that. Because anyone could stabilize something, right? Anyone could stabilize something. Anyone can make something go nice and that. But that's not going to get you trophies. That's not going to get you Premier League trophies. That's not going to get you Champions Leagues. You know, what gets you Champions League? Culture. Changing the ethos at the football club. Changing who we are. Erasing that negative mentality, that running in cement, that fridge on the back kind of play that we've been playing for the last 13 years. That is what it is. Culture at the football club. And that comes from the top. That comes from the top. This is why we want the Glazers out. This is why we didn't want Ineos. Because we all know if Qatar were at this football club right now, you know what? We'll be laughing right now. Bulldozer will be out. We'll probably stay at Old Trafford. Old Trafford will be being built. You know what I mean? The players who we don't need, players who we don't need would have left already. And we would have been in a very, very good place and positive. Now, look at us, guys. Look at us. Even the most staunch of Ineos supporters cannot turn around to me and tell me that, you know what, they're doing a good job. You've got to give them a chance. The mess that we had. They've gone zip. They've gone completely quiet over this last few months. They've gone completely quiet. I haven't seen those long tweets explaining things, or the finances and things like that. I haven't seen them anymore. I haven't seen those people trying to justify good old Jim, you know what I mean, about his mate born and bred. Let him do his thing. Let's not get him more debt. Let's stop making the mistakes that we always used to make. The biggest mistake is the Glazers, and the Glazers are still at this football club. And we had an opportunity to get rid of the curse at this football club. For goodness sake. It's a bit like The Exorcist, right? It's a bit like The Exorcist. And you got The Exorcist, you got the girl on the bed like this, right? And then you got the priest who comes in with the Bible, and he's like, look, I'm gonna try and get rid of this curse for you. And you go, leave it, Mr. Priest. Wait over there. She's going to get better really, really soon. She's going to get better really, really soon. But what you have to do, you have to understand, it takes patience. You have to wait for the virus to clear. But she's been possessed. No. You have to wait. We can't just cure her like that. We have to do it properly to abide with the FFP and the PSR. Because if we don't do it properly, she's going to get more virus, and blah, blah, blah. But this is the remedy. This is the remedy to get her better. This is how we get her better. No, that's not. That is just a hearsay. That is, human rights and stuff. Human rights. No, you have to go over there and let her get better. And this is what it's like. We could have had it all cleared, and had all the debt cleared, all the transfer fees that we owe cleared, and we would have been in a much better position, of course. Linda's off is scary, absolutely. Big up, Adam. How you doing, brother? Hope you're doing well. Good to see you. Good to see you, mate. Hope you're good. Sal, can you change the culture when the Glazers are there? No, Ephraim, you can't. But what I would say, you can change an ethos. You can cut yourself off from the Glazers, right? And this is what I like about Ruben Amorim, what he's doing right now. He's doing what he wants to do. He's saying what he wants to say. He's getting rid of the players, Rashford, Anthony, these players, right? we need him to have the tools to do his job, which will affect the pitch. He's bashing his hand against the wall. He's punching TVs off the wall because he cannot understand why these players are down tooling. Because at the end of the day, the owners of this football club couldn't care less about this football club's success. All they care about is milking from the football club. So that resonates to the team. So what we need a complete clear out. Ruben Amorim, who I think believes in Man United, he understands Man United. He's one of those guys who actually understand Man United, and get players who actually want to win. And that is the main thing they want to do. You know, not have been there since the Louis van Gaal days, etc. Now, if we move the Glazers, you would see a big sunlight come over Man United. It'd be like, whew, it'd be like that, you know? But that doesn't look like it's going to happen, you know, unless the government reject their regeneration project. The regeneration project needs to be rejected. That's what we need it to be. Because at the end of the day, if the government reject it, Jim Ratcliffe doesn't have a leg to stand on. Jim Ratcliffe will think, what am I doing at this football club? I'm not liked. And then he might sell his shares. And hopefully he sells it to Qatar. Luke Shaw doesn't look after himself, mate. He doesn't. Yo, bless up. Don't forget. Thank you so much, Rasta, you legend. Hope you're doing well. Guitar in. Absolutely. Absolutely. Good to see you. I agree with you, Sal. It's better to true than to be a pretender. Absolutely, mate. United don't need the points. Let's make three up nice and easy for Chelsea to get Champions League. F off. Juju. I should have known with a name like Juju. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, no, we're not making it easy for Chelsea, and we won't do tomorrow. Big up, bro. For us, it's Europa League final, Champions League. But you know what? We can't make it easy for Chelsea. This is professional football, mate. Let's not make it easy for Chelsea. They won't make it easy for us. I have to have been a Man United fan from day school. Big up, my friend. Big up. I love Ruben. He is exposing the quality and attitude of the lot. Absolutely agree with that, Randy. Spot on. Big up, Sal. I like Amorim is exposing that there is a bigger problems at the club and winning Europa is unimportant for money to improve the squad to competitive. For me and you, I want to see Man United lift the trophy. For the Glazers, they want to see the money. That's what they want to see. The Ineos want to see the money. That's all they want to see. And Ruben Amorim said everything but that. But he wanted to say that. And you can tell that he wanted to say that. You can tell that he knows Champions League. He knows that Champions League is important because of money. But for us, it's not. It's trophies. We want to win trophies. That's what we want at the end of the day. You know, trophies is what football is all about at the end of the day. Gladiator, according to people crying out, women out, who is the replacement? Exactly, Gladiator. Right, look, even that, right, Gladiator, right, my friend, he's a very good manager. Ten Hag was a very good manager. Jose Mourinho was a very good manager. These are very good managers. You know, we are making players and managers look bad. And you know what? It's about time we change this whole scenario, this ridiculous series that keeps going on and on and on and on. You know what I mean? And stop doing the same thing over and over again because it hasn't worked so far, really, has it? You know what I mean? Absolutely. Big up, Karina. How you doing, my friend? Hope you're doing well. Good to see you. Good to see you. If we lose Ruben, we are doomed. You know what? Part of me, I know this sounds sadistic. I know this sounds a bit like devil's advocate and stuff like that. But part of me feels like I would love it if he walked. You know why? Because then these idiots who are Ruben Amorim out will see again that he's not the problem. They will see it again. And this is one thing about it. But I really do hope that we win the Europa League. There's a little bit of positivity that comes into Manchester United. I know there'll still be people moaning. Of course, we can't change them miserable gits, right? But there'll be still people moaning. But you know what? I would love it if we win the Europa League. And I will be here celebrating. Sal, do you think it's the manager, players, or system? Do you think should change to suit the players? No. No, it's not the system. It's not the manager. It's not the system. That is one thing. Get out of your head. It's not the manager. It's not the system. System don't matter. Great players play well in any system. You know? And these players have proven that they can play well in any system by beating Arsenal with 10 men, by beating Manchester City in the Etihad, by going toe-to-toe with Liverpool. The problem is their mentality when they play Bournemouth and Wolves and Everton and teams like that. That's their problem. This is the problem, you know? And that is a mental problem. It's not a tactical. Is there a slight chance that Qatar will come in for a bid? There's always a chance. There's always a chance. The most important thing, the most important thing is basically making it as uncomfortable as humanly possible for Jim Ratcliffe. Make it uncomfortable for him. Make it horrible for him. Make it make it like, it's getting a bit hot in here. Pop your collar. It's getting hot in here. Make it like that for him. Do you know what I mean? That's what we need to do. Absolutely. Randy, there was nothing wrong with Eric, and we knew it. We have a player problem, not a manager problem. We have a culture problem, Randy, and that's the players, the ownership, everything. Players are being taught from a very young age. Even Amas and Mainu are going to learn it now, unfortunately, and Garnacho have already learned it, that when the going gets tough, you can down tool and it doesn't really matter. Nothing's going to happen to you. And that is the problem that we're having. It doesn't really matter if you down tool, lose to Wolves, lose to Bournemouth, no matter. They'll forget in 1 week. That is the mentality. That's a cultural problem. Do you know what I mean? Absolutely miserable gits. You know, we win the Europa League. You will see them. You will see them next week. Oh, well, it's only the Europa League. It doesn't paper over the cracks. I guarantee you, the word of the day will be papering over the cracks. I'm going to see it everywhere. Papering over the cracks. They're predictable. Like, you know what I mean? They're predictable. Honest to God, they're like rain in London. They're predictable. It's going to happen. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, this is what we're going to see next week if Man United win, and hopefully we do. But everyone here is going to be celebrating. We're going to be happy, guys. Absolutely. Manchester Council, please reject the regeneration. Let's go. That is what will hurt them. Big up. Because the Glazers plan, they sent a letter to the Manchester Council that they wanted to do this regeneration project. Now, this hasn't been approved yet, but you know what? If it's disapproved, then the Glazers have nothing to stand on, hopefully. The system exposes their weaknesses, absolutely, and their lack of IQ, Randy. You know what I mean? You think Zidane cared about system? You think Ronaldo cared about system? Ronaldo played on the wing at Man United. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, we are losing. We are if we continue to damage our reputation. I get so angry when I see people like Rance blaming every manager for our problems and making as if we have a good enough players and coaching being the problem. This is not PlayStation, FIFA. Mate, he doesn't understand football. He's just, at the end of the day, and I will say all due respect to Rance, I met Rance. You know what? Miserable guy. What they look at, they don't really look at football in an educated IQ way. What they do is they do this. I have ball. I kick ball. I kick ball in goal. I do not win. Manager must go. Exactly, more or less, how they see football. This is how they see football. They don't see the nooks and crannies. They don't see the ins and outs, and why this is happening, why you kick the ball like that, why it's gone in the goal, what's going on upstairs, why is every manager failing, why is every good manager in Europe. And let's not forget how long Ruben Amorim was undefeated, guys. Let's not forget how long Ruben Amorim was undefeated. Ruben Amorim was undefeated in the Champions League after 5 games. He was winning, guys. Ruben Amorim was in the Champions League doing his thing. He came to Man United, and then all of a sudden, you know what? Oh, he's a bad manager. He's a bad manager. Do these people ever learn? Do they hear themselves speak? I don't think they do. I really don't think they hear themselves. I just feel like, they have hate in their body. They have hate in their body. And that's what it is. They've made their mind up about Ruben Amorim, and they're not going to change about it. Papering over the cracks, FC. We're going to hear that next Wednesday, Kenny, if we win. Trust me. Someone, please print screen the first time you see papering over the cracks. Trust me. Trust me. Papering over the cracks, FC. Or when they say United won the Banter Cup, they're going to say all that. The UEFA Cup is banter. When Ronaldo was scoring in the UEFA Cup final against Lazio, doing that skill and going around the goalkeeper in the 90s, was it a banter competition then? You know what I mean? I think they just need to be quiet. You know what I mean? Man City are not going to win anything this year. They need to be quiet. You know what I mean? They need to stop talking. And you know what? Arsenal need to stop talking as usual. Sal, I watched a TV interview with Rance when Robbie mentioned about players disgracing Mourinho. I watched the AFT interview with Rance when Robbie mentioned about players disgracing Mourinho. Yeah, but the players have been disgracing every single manager. Are all those managers disgraced? You know what I mean? Are all those managers poor? Pray to God that the Glazers have an answer for the crimes and Ineos letting him stay. Absolutely, bruv. Absolutely. I have sympathy for this manager. Do you think the fans are the bigger problem for this club? Not us, not all the fans. There are some problems. Unfortunately. There are problems at this football club. With the fans, there's all different. We've got the social media lot who are manager out, toxic. We've got the people who just care about the season tickets. That's all they care about, and having a pint. That's all they care about. We got fans that, you know, want to do things but don't want to do things. We got fans that don't want to sack managers but don't have a replacement for that manager and don't understand why these things are happening. You know what I mean? At the end of the day. These are the same guys who said that when Erik ten Hag leaves, any manager could win the league with this team. Those same words came out of their mouths. They support Tottenham anyway, let me tell you that. And Rant supports Tottenham. Crystal Palace will Muller Man City FA Cup final. I hope so. That would be great. Guys, check out my team. I'm going to bring it up right now. Guys, let's have a look at this. Let me get it up. This is my team for the game against Chelsea, guys. Let me know what you think. Well, you know what? It's going to be a difficult one, isn't it? We have to drop some players. I would play Fredrickson. I think Ahmad needs more game time. Ericsson in the middle. Ugarte, Amas, Mason Mount and Mainu are the number 10s. Cheeto up front. Bayindir in goal. Lindelof, Maguire in defence. That's my prediction for the team, guys. You know what? It could be very different to that, of course, you know, but that's something I mustered up. You know, I feel like it could be something like along these lines here. It could be different. Who knows? But I would make a whole string of changes, absolutely, against Chelsea, absolutely. But we can't do 2 weeks. Obviously, we can't get smashed up before the Europa League final. That is not ideal. Of course, it's not at the end of the day. Here we go. Box, what's going on, my friend? Hope you're doing well. Kukunki, Evans, Fredrickson, Ahmad, Mainu, Collier, Amas. Collier's not match fit, I don't think. Mount, Ericsson, Obi. Nearly, same as me. Nearly, same as me. Evans is not match fit, won't play. Fredrickson might. Ahmad will, I think. Mainu will, I think. Collier match fit, might be on the bench. Amas left back. Yeah, that's what I do. I agree with Ahmad starting as an impact player for the final. Worries about Mount getting injured. I mean, the problem we're having at the moment is Ahmad is a great impact player, but we don't have anyone to replace Ahmad, do we? Unless we play Casemiro and Ugarte, Bruno and Garnacho in the thing. If Dalot is fit, then you know what, he will play the right wing back, and Ahmad will be. Guys, I know Ahmad's going to be a starting player. I know he will be a starting player. But as an impact player, Ahmad is absolutely better. Look at Ahmad starting against West Ham. He's done that many times. We don't want that in the final against Tottenham. That's why I say that. That's why I'm being intelligent in regards to saying that he is an impact player. And so is Garnacho. At the moment, though. At the moment. It doesn't mean they're forever going to be an impact player. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't mean if they're forever going to be an impact player. Absolutely not. Lindelof must play. LT, I don't understand that this notion that coaches have to make these players better. You can't polish a turd, and most senior players have been crap. So, you know, exactly, LT. Someone tell these guys, right? Someone tell these guys to get Peter Crouch, because they're so clever, right? These guys are so clever. They think that it's a manager's duty to make players better. Okay, guys, get Peter Crouch. We all remember Peter Crouch, right? And let's turn Peter Crouch into prime Lamine Yamal. Let's turn Peter Crouch into Ronaldinho. Why can't he do it? He should be a good manager, right? Why can't we do it? It's plain to see, isn't it? The players are there. They're old enough to know. You can't teach a dog new tricks. Old dog, new tricks. I'll bring him on or take him off in the second half. He needs to be match fit. I still don't think he's match fit. Starting Ahmad will be risky for this game. I think he will start, though. I don't know if he's going to play. I would love him to play Mantato, of course, the youngster. I just don't see it happening against Chelsea. It is a risk, but, you know, at the end of the day, but we'll see what happens. It's subjective at the end of the day. We'll see what happens. Everyone talking about Kulusevski. Our first choice defense is unavailable. Did it to Martinez and Euro and Licha, Box, and Xerxes out. You know what I mean? People don't want to understand that. They just see it from a narrative of their own, don't they? At the end of the day. Afternoon, Sal. I pray for the regeneration to get rejected. Otherwise, the Glazer and Sir Jim Ratcliffe plan will fall and be forced to sell the club to Qatar or say. I mean, it's a possibility. I'm not saying that this thing could happen 100%. It's the gospel. It's going to happen. I mean, it might not. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, it might not happen. And that's it. Now, guys, we've been here before. In 2007, I think it was, Man United played Chelsea. And we already won the league. And Chelsea ended up giving us a guard of honor, guys. Now, when you look at that team, Chelsea against Chelsea, Dong, Richardson, Lee, Eagles. Man United played basically a third, fourth choice team against Chelsea because Man United had already wrapped up the league title. Now, this game reminds me of this. And Man United, what was the score, guys? What was the score? 0-0. Man United didn't lose. Even though we had O'Shea, Eagles, Lee, Kushak, Dong against the likes of Makalele, you know what I mean? And John Terry there, you know, and Malouda there. You know, at the end of the day, Wayne Bridge as well, by the way. And Kudachini is there as well. So that is it. And there's Mikel as well there. There's Sean Wright-Phillips there. You know, there's Essien there. They're the strong team. And Man United managed to get a draw with a youth team. And it was a guard of honor, of course, guys. So we can take hope from that. We can take belief from that, of course. Shalom. Ex-players would never come to a fan channel to have a normal conversation about football. They won't, mate. They won't do that because at the end of the day, they don't want to be shown up. And some of them will be shown up, unfortunately. LT is Goldbridge Shadow using the word turd. You mean turd, mate, not third. What's a third? Turd, mate. You can't polish a turd. Yeah. Yeah, it's a perfectly normal saying. Dong is a club legend. Big up, Box. Sounds like you against the Qataris. Who's that? Me? Irfan, you talking about me? Irfan, you talking about me against the Qataris? Guys, he said I'm against the Qataris, right? Irfan's going to have a stinker here. He's going to have a stinker here, a really bad stinker. I know. He's retrieved himself. I went on national TV of Qatar talking about a full sell for Man United. I created the 58th minute walkout, you know, going up to Manchester to walk out in the 58th minute to try and get these bloody Glazers out. You know what I mean? You know, I advocated for Qatar. I fell out with media journalists for Qatar. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, it's mad. It was a draw. Yeah, 0-0. Chelsea have given more guard of honours than every other Premier League. Absolutely. They're like the Queen's men, aren't they? At the end of the day. I got you, Irfan. I remember that the game really well, rotated the squad basically and drew 0-0 and Chelsea giving us a guard of honour. It's mad, isn't it? You know, at the end of the day. The fans must force the local reps to absolutely. Chris Eagles is a club legend. I remember the goal Chris Eagles scored against, who was it? Everton. Do you remember when he bent it in the corner when we won 4-2 and basically tied up the league? It will forever be a Manchester United legend. I know, and I'm pulling your leg, brother. Don't worry. I'm pulling your leg. But make sure you at people when you say things like that because I don't know. I get loads of messages here. I can't scroll back and stuff like that. But Qatar... I'm all Qatar. I mean, at the end of the day, I live in the bloody Middle East. You know what I mean? I've been here 3 years now. So, yeah, I am one of them. Do you know what I mean, guys? But you know what? Tomorrow is a game that is not important, we know, but it would be nice for Man United to get something from the game. So that is why I'm going for Chelsea 1, Manchester United 1. I believe Man United will take the lead, and I think that Chelsea will end up equalising, and it'll be a 1-1 draw. And I'll take that. That means we have one more game to go. Guys, the season's almost over. It's been emotional, man. It's been emotional. Absolutely brilliant. Not brilliant, but it's been absolutely emotional. It's been crazy ride, hasn't it, guys? Really. And the season's over. 1-1, Ephraim. 1-1. Shah's like me. Shah says 1-1 as well. I agree. Shah, big up Shah. I agree. 1-1 as well. I agree with that as well, guys. I think 1-1 would be a good scoreline for Man United going into the final against Tottenham Hotspur. I wish this game was cancelled. 2-1 United. Come on, Earth fan. Come on, Earth fan. Come on, Earth fan. Let's do this, mate. I love the positivity from Earth fan. One thing you get from Earth fan is positivity. And that's what we want at the end of the day. There's too much doom and gloom in the fan base. You know what I mean? I know there's not much to celebrate at the moment, but you know what? We make it worse. Do you know what I mean? We're putting vinegar on the wound every single week, you know, and it's like, come on, man. You know what I mean? We got a final to come. We win that final, things can change. A lot of changes are going to be made. I'm hoping that a lot of change will be made. We need that confidence for the final. I mean, we can't lose, fan, absolutely. We need that confidence. We need that morale, that momentum to go into the final, absolutely. That's what we need, guys. It's so important. It's so, so important, guys. Losing, if we lose 3-0, 4-1, whatever we're going to lose, if we lose like that, then obviously it's going to be a bit, you know what, the confidence is going to be low and stuff for the final. So we'll have to wait and see. But it will be a heavily changed team. I take 4-0 loss tomorrow if it means everyone fit for the final on that day. Oh, it's a mental thing as well, though. It's a thing. These players are weak, you know, up here. So they might let it get to them. So I would take would you take a 4-0 loss if Man United have a full? I'd take a 4-0 loss if Man United win the Europa League. That's what I'll take. If Man United win against Chelsea and lose the Europa League final, it doesn't matter, does it? You know what I mean? Even if we lose 4-0 to Chelsea, which we've done in the past, it doesn't really matter about... It won't really matter if we win the Europa League. People will be forgetting about that in an instant. I think Amram will rotate 50-50 of the team. I think there'll be a mixture, yeah. I think there'll be a mixture of youth and experience, guys. I do believe that. I think it will be a mixture of youth and experience. I don't think he's going to go full on either way in regards to your kids and stuff. I would like to see Kamarson. I would like to see Montato playing. I would like to see that, to be honest. We will do, let's show the arrogant anger. The last thing I want to see, Ephraim, is a happy anger. That guy's so arrogant. If he wins this, my goodness me, he's going to be so arrogant. You know what I mean? We need to shut anger, Postecoglou up. That's what we need to do. Absolutely. We need to get rid of this guy. This guy's rude, man. When he talks about Man United, he talks with no respect. I don't care about Man United, dude. I don't care. You know, this guy is just a simple question. Someone asks him and then he comes out with a nonsense. 1-1 or 2-1, I'll take that all day long. Absolutely, I'll take that all day long. 2-1 win would be brilliant going into that. It'd be nice to get a couple of wins at the end of the season. Let's beat Chelsea and let's beat Aston Villa. Shah, did you see Sean Dyche's comments basically saying he would have done a better job than Amram at Man United? Maybe, look, at the end of the day, I did see it, Shah. But Sean Dyche has never played in the Champions League, never managed in the Champions League, never managed in the Europa League, never done anything. Talk is cheap. Talk is cheap. He's talking too much. Maybe he should concentrate on not getting sacked by Everton. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, that's all he needs to do. That's what he needs to do. He concentrate on himself. You know, Ruben Amorim's a much better manager than him. Yes, Sean Dyche might get one-off short-term results. That's what Sam Allardyce does. But a long-term success, Sean Dyche is not going to do that. Football doesn't deal with absolutes like that. Yeah, you might get the odd result. You know what I mean? Well done. Doesn't really matter. We came from 16th to 13th. Well done, Sean Dyche. But what Ruben Amorim is trying to do, he's trying to change the culture at the football club. He's trying to build us into something that can compete. Sean Dyche will lose 2 games and it won't even bother him. It bothers Ruben Amorim. You know what I mean? And we win the Europa League. It's more than Sean Dyche has won in his whole life. I mean, so he just needs to pipe down and stop giving himself self-PR. He needs a job. I ever thought that I will force myself to join, even though a terrible flu. It must say a lot about Sal and a love for the Earth fan, or is it the other way around? Have you got a flu, Earth fan? I had a bad flu. Terrible flu, mate. Terrible flu, mate. I had the flu, mate. I had a terrible one. I think I had a mixture of COVID and the flu. Whatever it was nasty. Yeah. Have a great day, Sal. Big up. I hope you get better soon, Earth. And I didn't know you were sick. Sorry, mate. I hope you get better soon. It will pass. Lots of ginger, lots of turmeric. You know what I mean? Lots of garlic. Sean Dyche does not deserve to say something like that about we're Man United, mate. He just got sacked by Everton. He just needs to calm down. And the expectations at Everton are far less than Man United, isn't it? And he still got sacked. Sean Dyche has Mourinho confidence, but moves like Tony Pulis. Absolutely. You are a few of United channels who work hard for this club. Hater can hate. Keep up the good work. Thank you so much, Ephraim. I really appreciate you coming here today and every week and every day. We really appreciate that. We're going to build as a community. And I won't forget the people who have been here, you know what I mean, supporting this channel. We're going to keep going. A lot of people just want us to stop, but we're not going to stop. We're over. We're going to, next target's 20,000 subscribers. That is the next target for me. Absolutely. Get well, Irfan. Get well, Irfan. Hope you get better, mate. Hope you get better. Hope you do, mate. Hope you get well soon, my friend. Yeah, it's a tough one, the flu. It absolutely is. But you know what I would say, guys, is that, you know, we lose tomorrow. Even if we lose tomorrow, I'm not going to go to bed crying, because the most important thing for me is Wednesday, you know, and we win on Wednesday. I'm going to be here. We're going to be stressed. It's going to be nerve-wracking, going to be nervous. You know, we win together, we lose together at the end of the day. And I hope Man United win. The more subscribers you get, Sal, the more haters you get. Yeah, I mean, I get a lot. I get a lot, to be honest with you. At the end of the day. But a lot of people got to know me, and some of my haters have become my friends, believe it or not. People used to think I was connected to the other toxic channels and stuff like that, because I had Saeed on this channel. I've had other people on this channel. And people thought I was connected to that basically circle, which I wasn't. And then people realized that I'm a Man United through and through. And some of my enemies became my friends, which is great. You know what I mean? And I've had one on here, Ben. Ben has been on here a couple of times, and he was wasn't an enemy, but he was one of the people who didn't like me, and understood where I came from in regards to Man United, about how much I love the football club. Then he realized, and other people have realized as well. And one thing we do is that we got to be very careful who we support in this industry, because there are many people there who lead you on a dark path to somewhere else in regards to the football club, supporting the football club a certain way, lead you into a way of nonsense, and lead you into a way of, reactionary mentality. And that is, in life, you cannot be reactionary. In everything you do, you have to give it time. You have to give it patience. In regards to Man United, the biggest football club in the world, that is broken and been broken for 13 years. You're expecting Ruben Amorim to fix it in 5 months without any transfer window, without any players of his, with a unique, distinctive style of play. And, it's just insanity. When you think about it and you learn about it, it's just insanity. Qatar gave Donny a jet so you can give Qatar United. Specialized subscribe. I mean, Qatar need to start giving poor people more money. That's what they need to do. I love our rival fans, but I hate their clubs. I hate their clubs. You know what? Rivals will be rivals. We're going to have rivals. But the worst thing about it is when your own fans are rivals. You know what I mean? And that's what I don't like. I don't like this whole notion that, reactionary notion. You know what I mean? This is how they do it, guys. This is how we do it. Guys, they do it like this. Bear me a second. Now imagine this is a new era cap, right? This is how they do it. Nah, bruv. He's a fraud, bruv. I don't care, bruv. We're Manchester United, bruv. What, do you fancy him or something, bruv? This is unacceptable. We're Manchester United, bruv. We're 16th in the league, man. We're 16th in the league. He's a fraud, Portuguese fraud, bruv. He's a fraud. Get out of here, man. Get out of here, man. Just sack the guy. Sack the guy. He's useless, man. I don't care if he's not had a window. Who cares? He's supposed to make that team better, bruv. He's supposed to make that team better, bruv. That's what, I can't tell you. He's just a fraud, bruv. A Portuguese fraud, bruv. I don't care. This is 10 guesses who that is. 10 guesses for who that is. 3 months down the line, you know what I mean? He's going to be doing the same thing with another manager and another manager and another manager and another manager. That's what it is, bruv. You know what I mean? They're so predictable. They're so readable. They're like clones. You know what I mean? They're the clones, I know that Expressions took all the good genes. You know what I mean? I know that, you know, he's got all the talent, but you know what I mean? It's ridiculous. Sal and Bance, there you go. Do you think there is a cycle as well as, for example, protests, but then the Glazers make a signing, then nothing happens if we go to Glazers 20 years? Good. Do you think there's a cycle if we, example, protest, but then the Glazers make a signing? And yeah, that's the problem we're having. That's the problem we're having. Nah, bruv. He's a bald fraud, bruv. He's a bald fraud, bruv. Nah, mate. He's a fraud. He's a peanut head, bruv. He's a peanut head. Nah, man. We're Manchester United. I witnessed the treble. I was in nappies. When I witnessed the treble. I was in Pampers. I was in diapers when I witnessed the treble. I was there when I witnessed the treble. Yeah, I've seen my club win a treble when I was sucking on my dummy and my mama's titty. I was there. Cunt won't respond to me. Absolutely not. There you go. Absolutely. Yeah, look, guys, you know what? All jokes aside. Right. Look, guys, this is Stretford Post. This is Chatterbox. Chatterbox is way out there, guys. Chatterbox has been around a while, guys. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, this is what Chatterbox is. But you know what? One word from our sponsor, Rants. No, bro. Make sure you subscribe, bro. Make sure you smash that like, bro. You know how it is. You know how we do. Make sure you subscribe. All I need now is a Chicago Bulls black jersey. That would be perfect. Chicago Bulls jersey. Then I'll be perfect, bruv. And he can start, you know what? At the end of the day, you know what I mean? He's poison. It's poison. I was glory hunter when I first spoke to United. Yeah, absolutely. Standard and reality is different. Absolutely. Exactly. Big up Shalom. Big up everyone who's joined me today. You absolute legends, diamonds. You are. Really appreciate you all, guys. And guys, I'll see you tomorrow for Breaking Dawn. If nothing else breaks, I will be live. Don't forget to put the notifications on, and please don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you're new. Please. And don't forget to smash a like, guys. Really appreciate you all. Much love to you, everyone. And I hope you have a good day. Get well soon, Earth fan. Much love to you, brother. And everyone who's on the channel, I wish you all the best, guys. I'll see you tomorrow. If nothing else breaks, of course. Take it easy. Peace.
Do you know Tottenham?
What?
Tottenham Hotspur?
Topspur?
No.
What's that?
You never heard of them?
No?